White Rocket Entertainment, podcast number 939. It's the hope that kills you, and it's knowing that it's the hope that kills you that kills you. But the football team made us feel hope again. Is that a good thing? We'll talk about it. The AU Wishbone is next. And it's coming at you from the suddenly frigid 8-degree depths of southern Illinois and probably warmer in eastern Virginia, but it's on the way towards you, John. It's the AU Wishbone podcast. John, how are you tonight? Hopefully not as cold as I am.
Not as cold, but it's definitely going to freeze here tonight. How are you, man?
Good. I've got the, it's winter when I bust out the toboggan / beanie / whatever you want to call the hat. And the hoodie. I can just do the whole, go a step too far here. But we've got a good bit to cover tonight because we lost a football game, and I want to be very clear. We're going into the next thing, but I just want to be very clear about this up front. We lost a football game again, but I felt pain again for the first time in weeks. I had just grown numb, and I think that that's a good sign because it means while it is the hope that kills you, it means we had hope, and it's been a long time, relatively speaking, if not ever, since we had actual hope, signs of life, a heartbeat, especially on offense. And we're going to talk about that. I mean, the thought that our offense could have looked like that all season, assuming Vanderbilt just didn't suddenly forget how to play defense and it was a mirage. The thought that our offense could have looked like that all season and didn't is we're going to talk about it. But of course, before we do that, it's the Auburn Fun Meter, our weekly look at how much fun it is to be an Auburn fan this week. And it's kind of a tough call because, like I say, I'm happy about some aspects of it, but I'm sad about others.
And we won 2 basketball games last week. We got the basketball this week. So I'm going to say I'm a 6.
What I was holding up.
There you go. That's it.
I thought I'm going to 5 because it's good and bad, but I'm really more positive than negative. So 6, 7 seemed excessive when you lose a football game.
Agree.
6, I think, is about it. I think we're on the same page here, and that's good. All right. So our fun meters are both at 6. We're going to talk about the Vanderbilt game. We're going to talk about the coaching search. We've got a lot to say about all that. But first, we have a little bit of a news factoid that I honestly was thinking I might not ever hear in my lifetime. And that is,
holy cow! Oh my God!
We have scheduled Notre Dame.
Home and home football series in 27 and 28.
Listeners to this program will know that I have said for years, you have too. I can only speak for myself, but you have to. I said, I want Notre Dame. They've played everybody else of note.
It's a game Auburn has never played.
We've never played them. That's exactly my point.
Yes.
We've never played them, and yet they've played everybody else. They're playing Arkansas, and yet they haven't played us. And so it was past due. And I had a little glimmer of hope when they were saying that when UCLA went off of our schedule, it left openings, and they said that there were 3 teams that had open spots that would match ours, and one of the 3 was Notre Dame. So, but I've also read reports this has been going on for a long time. So here's what this is just purely my suspicion, but I think what happened is we've been talking to Notre Dame for a while. But when they saw it matched up like that it was there, you know what I mean? Then they said, let's go for it. And I'm not sure that we would have taken a big time opponent in a 9-game SEC schedule, except one you can't pass up.
Agree, except we need a big-time non-conference opponent in some years, because there's going to be years when we have 4 home games and it's not Georgia and Alabama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the 2 dumb things about having Georgia and Alabama on the same rotation. One is it messes up our home schedule every other year. The other, we have to play them both on the road every other year. So neither one of those things is good. But yeah, I feel like it was a combination of that. I think that's absolutely true. And the fact that even if we were not planning to play a tough top level Power 4 type team, you make an exception for this. And I mean, I don't know how the average Auburn I imagine it's all across the spectrum. I'm sure there's people that are like, oh, okay, we could have had Virginia Tech or something. In fact, I think Virginia Tech was one of the other options.
Mm-hmm.
But we got Notre Dame, what to do. But I mean, I don't know about you, but from my perspective, this is one I've wanted my entire life. I've wanted Auburn to play Notre Dame just because of the stature of it, the history that they bring, and it shows, that we're in the same breath with them, which is great. Of course, they're going to be a national championship power team just because we're playing them, right? It can't be the Notre Dame of 4 or 5 years ago.
They were second last year, so yeah, no, they're going to be good. Yeah, so this is the other thing about, we didn't schedule them 10 years from now. We scheduled them 2 years from now, and they're going to be good.
Yeah, there was a whole 25-year window there where they were crap and we didn't play them, and then now they're going to be good again. But anyway, that's fine, whatever. And I mean, I'm going to find a way to be at both of those games. That to me is like I was at the Cam Newton National Championship game. That was non-negotiable. And I was at the 89 first time ever game. That was non-negotiable. Before I die, I plan to be at the most important, known going in. I mean, after the fact, I wish I'd been at the kick 6, but who knew? You know what I'm saying? In 2013, Who knew after 2012 that the next Iron Bowl was going to be the greatest Iron, ever in history? Anyway, we know. But and another thing about it affects the coaching search, because the coach that we hire in a few weeks is going to, unless something shocking happens, is going to navigate us through those 2 games.
That's right. So
how would you like to?
You're getting a 9-game SEC schedule and a 2-game series of Notre Dame, and then we still have a 2-game series of Miami after that.
Good Lord. But I mean, how would you like to be able to recruit your next coach by saying you get to come be in the SEC and coach Auburn, and you get to play Notre Dame home and away in the next couple of years?
Which will absolutely be a national spotlight game, both.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like that helps, maybe just a tiny little bit, but that helps.
Yes.
It helps our coaching search to say we're getting ready to play Notre Dame. Another thing of note, 2027 is the year we play at Notre Dame. We also play at Texas that year, which was the previous game that was at the top of my list to go to that year. So I'm starting a trust fund now, a savings account, just for going to Notre Dame and Texas. We don't know yet what the schedule is going to be. Dear Lord, if they're back-to-back weekends, I may just not come home that week. I'll just be on the road, take the week off,
We did see the game in Auburn is going to be later in the season. It's going to be close to Halloween. So we're going to be, mid SEC schedule, peak fall, playing Notre Dame at home before we go into Amen Corner. That's insane.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, remember, we used to play Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Alabama the last 4 games. But that was with a Pat Dye team. We could do it. So hopefully whoever we get will be the latest edition of Pat Dye, which is that a Corona Soul?
Corona.
I'm
off tomorrow. I'm drinking an adult beverage during the podcast.
Hey, good for you. Hey, when we do the Babylon 5 show, Andy's always got a glass of wine. I just got my little seltzer water here. I'm lame. But it was funny. I was just about to come down here, and Mira and my wife said, don't forget to turn your alarm off. And I'm like, well, why would I do that? Oh, wait a minute. I'm like, we don't have to go to work tomorrow. I was just going to get up at 5:30 tomorrow and get ready to head off to the campus. So I'm glad I had that little conversation before I came down the stairs, man. Oh,
that would have been the worst.
Oh my gosh. You imagine getting up at 5:30, brushing your teeth, shaving, going to get in the shower. And what are you doing? Getting ready to go to work. Why? There's no work today. Oh, jeez. God. Well, anyway, so I don't know. I'll put it this way on the if there's the Auburn excitement meter, like how excited am I for something? This is a 10. The Notre Dame thing is a 10 for me.
Agree. I was incredibly excited when the news broke.
Yes. All right, good. I'm glad we agree on that. And by the way, I've been pointing out our schedule the last 2 years, although this varies, was the easiest it's been in like 50 years. And we made a dog's breakfast of it, as they say. We get everybody on the schedule almost next year that we didn't get the last 2 years. And so, man, the schedule gets so much, I mean, at least in name recognition, because you can say Vanderbilt's better than X, Y, and Z, and that's probably true. But at least in terms of name brands, we get all the name brands back next year. Think about this. Next year, we get LSU and Florida and Ole Miss and Mississippi State, along with Georgia, Alabama, and Vanderbilt. And I think we don't have Oklahoma or Texas next year.
Tennessee?
And Tennessee. That's right. Yeah, it's insane. It looks like a 1987 schedule or something.
It does.
We get Texas the following year, at Texas in 27, and then Texas in Auburn in 28. It's funny. That's hard to believe. When Texas comes to Auburn in 28, that'll be the 41st anniversary of them coming in 87. And I was at that 87 game. You might have been. Were you at the 87 Texas game?
Yes.
At the beginning of the season?
Yes.
Yeah. We didn't know each other yet.
That's right.
41 years. That's crazy.
Well, let's hope the game goes the same way.
Oh, I mean, I know that everybody remembers Kurt Crane hugging the referee.
Nobody remembers.
They should. What I remember from that game is Greg Staples hitting that Texas guy in midair and killing him, like murdering him, and then coming down with the ball. Like Greg Staples had the ball and the guy was left
sure,
in intensive care. So I can remember that better than games that happened this year. Isn't that crazy? All right. What we got on the coaching search?
I guess the first thing is, did this weekend change your mind or break up any new candidates? And the one candidate I've heard is Jeff Brom of Louisville.
Yeah, he's come up some.
He's on Florida's list as well. And I think he's a very good coach who is, again, at his alma mater where he played quarterback. A good offensive coach. You think he's a quarterback, they're going to be a pass crazy team, but they've had a great running game this year. So I think he's a good coach, would be a good candidate. There's, another guy to consider. And did this game, and we're going to talk about this a little bit, did this game change your mind about Durkin at all as a candidate, or still the same?
Well, tell me about Brom. I don't know much about him. I know the name bouncing around, but I don't know anything really.
He played quarterback at Louisville, and I think he was the offensive coordinator a couple places, and then he was the head coach at Purdue. I don't know if you remember the game about 5 years ago. Purdue beat Ohio State, and they had a home game where they beat Ohio State, and everybody went crazy. He was the coach of that game.
Okay.
And then he went back to Louisville just this last year when their coach left, and so I think he's a pretty good coach. I mean, they have they lost last weekend, and there's still an outside chance they could win the ACC. They beat Miami earlier this year, so no, I think he's pretty good. So
all right. Where would you rank him on your own personal list?
I mean, I think he's below some of those other guys we've talked about. Below the Tulane coach and Dillingham and Brent Key, but I think he's further down the list. But I think he's somebody Auburn's considering, and he's like Florida's list.
Yeah,
Is Lane and this guy, the Washington coach, and the Missouri
the guy that
coach.
replaced DeBoer.
Yeah, because Jed Fish, he went to Florida. He's a Florida person.
Oh, okay.
So they have wanted him all along. When he was at Arizona, they won like 10 games before he took. That's how he got the Washington job, and so they. He was a hot name, and then Washington's not having a very good year. It's taken some of the luster off him as a candidate, but Florida's always like that guy.
We need to do something, and I want to go ahead and make a note about this. I'm going to make a note right here. I was like, what is that posted? That posted is where my seat is for Rush next July in Chicago. That's funny. I got my ticket finally. I'll just say this. I looked on like SeatGeek or whatever. The seats right around me are going for $1,200 to $1,500 a piece. I got it on the first went on sale. I did not pay anything like that. I couldn't, but I could sell it for that, but I'm not. Okay. What I want us to do is the Wishbone. I want to do a little graphic. I'll do the graphic in Photoshop if you want, but I want you to give me the list of our AU Wishbone hot board list, how we rank like the top 5 or whatever. I know you already did a document that just go in and freshen that up, make like a top 5 or top 10 list, and I'll make a graphic out of it. We can put it out there on social media so we can act like we're one of these other arrogant podcasts that do this. All right. We just do it tongue in cheek though. The hot board, the Wishbone hot board.
Well, while you're making a note, I'm going to walk through something that I think is important. And I want everybody to think about in terms of the coaching search, and that is the calendar. Yeah. Okay. Cohen has said we want to hire a coach as soon as possible, as close to the Auburn-Alabama game as soon as possible. But there's some dates you need to keep in your mind because they relate to these candidates, okay? Mm-hmm. The Auburn-Alabama game is Saturday, November 29th. Early signing day for high school recruits is December 3rd, okay? So, the next Wednesday after the Auburn-Alabama game. Championship game weekend for the SEC and other conferences is December 6th. Okay, so if one of our candidates is playing at a conference championship game, they will not be available until after early signing day. The playoff first round is December 19th and 20th. If we are attempting to hire a coach whose team is in the playoff, they will not be available until after that weekend.
Is that true, though?
That is 100% true.
Could they not leave and come on and take up their new job and let the interim coach do them in the playoff or whatever, or the bowl?
If it was a bowl, yes. If it's a playoff, no. No coach is going to leave a playoff team to go to a new job. Not any coach, not any job.
Okay.
So this is why I am doing this. Your exact reaction, because for example, if Tulane becomes the G5 team in the playoff and we are focused on that guy as our candidate, he will not be available until like December 20th at the earliest. And we're going to have to wait while other people are hiring coaches and watch and wait. The transfer portal then opens January 2nd. The second round of the playoff ends January 2nd. Okay. So the other teams in the playoff are going to be, hiring coaches out of that pool as the transfer portal opens. So this is why I wanted to walk through this, because in some ways it is better for us if the coaches that we are pursuing do not make the playoff or do not make the championship game.
That's kind of a double-edged sword, though, isn't it? Because we want a coach that's good enough to do that, but yet it's more. That's a tough call. if he loses in the first round or loses and doesn't get there, then we're going to think, why are we hiring this guy?
Okay, here's the other scenario. He makes the playoff, they win a game, and then he's like, man, this was great. I can make the playoff here. I don't need to go. Like,
oh, God.
So, and then it's December 20th, and we don't have a coach. So you have to have, whatever happens, you got to have a plan A and a plan B and a plan C. And we got to have a better plan B than last time. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
so that's why I'm walking through these dates, because here's another thing. Like, if Lane Kiffin's in the playoff and Florida and LSU are both open, they both think they're going to be getting him, and only one or none of them are. So,
yeah. You asked how did this weekend change my mind about existing candidates or bring up new ones. I keep thinking about how Dillingham is so high on the list, and he had a really good second year, but he had a really bad first year. Of course, a lot of coaches have bad first years.
No. That situation he walked into is 10 times worse than what he would walk into at Auburn. Okay. I mean, it's worse. I'm going to say this. It's worse than what Freeze walked into. It's worse than what Harsin walked into. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he had them in the playoff in the second year, A+ to me. Like, that, the job he's done at Arizona State is really good. And they're contending in the conference this year after losing a bunch of guys. So,
yeah, there's just something about him. He hasn't been a coach very long. He looks like he's about 15. It just rubs me the wrong way. If we hire him and he comes in and kicks butt, I'll apologize.
This is me saying this, John Ringer's opinion only. I want a young coach who's on the way up. I don't want somebody who proved something 10 years ago. I don't.
Yeah.
15 years ago. I don't care. That is the dinosaurs as far as football is concerned now.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. Well, I think we learned that, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes for sure. I don't know. Durkin, I mean, and we're going to talk about this in a minute too, but my big takeaway from Saturday was not Durkin. It was Coach Nix. I mean, my big takeaway was, how hard must Hugh Freeze have been working to sabotage that offense? Because it looked good. And
I think the answer is not hard at all.
Well, it doesn't take a lot of effort to toss a hand grenade into something and watch it blow up. Yeah.
No, it is worse than that. Okay. It is clearly Derek Nix is very competent at designing a game plan and calling plays. And our past coach didn't bother to listen to him, and then went into the game and called plays that were not on the game plan.
That's what kills me. So, if our audience may not have all heard that, the latest accusation, well, it may not be the latest at this point, but one of the accusations is that they'd spend a week designing the offense, and then Freeze would come in, I guess, from the golf course and just say, hey, let's just try this. And it's not something they were ready to do. He would just pull stuff out of his rear end.
And did not attend the offensive game plan meetings.
Oh, wow.
So, again,
wow.
If he had focused on just recruiting and being the CEO, we could have had this the last 2 years. He might still be the head coach, but he knew better. So he called the plays and he called those plays that led to us scoring 3 points against, one offensive touchdown against the two worst defenses, in the SEC the last 2 weeks.
Unbelievable. It's just funny because I really thought all the superlatively bads we'd burned with Potato. And here I'm like, dang, I mean, they were like this. I mean, I feel like while Potato didn't recruit and Freeze kind of did, otherwise, I think Potato actually outworked him. At least it's seeming that way. I mean, the offense was better under Potato with worse talent.
Side, yes.
With worse talent. Dang, it's really shocking. It absolutely is shocking to me. I know to some people they're going to say it's not, But I think a lot of what they're saying is they just didn't like him for other reasons, and so they're going to say that. I don't think I know that there were some, to be fair, I know that there were some Auburn people that didn't like Freeze on football grounds, and I respect that because clearly they knew something that I didn't know, right? When I would hear them not liking Freeze on moral and ethical grounds, I understood that too, but I don't think you can use that to attack his football acumen. You know what I mean? Attack him as a human being all you want. That's fine. If that's fair, it's fair. But to attack him as a bad offensive game plan or a play caller because you don't like his moral behavior, to me is apples and oranges. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's seeming to me like, but there were Auburn people from the beginning that didn't like him as a coach, everything else notwithstanding, and I never believed them until now.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. Okay. So you asked the question, can we be patient? I guess we're going to have to, unless, well, I guess it just like you say, it kind of depends on who we're. Do you think we're going to kind of focus in on one, or we just kind of throw the net wide and say, who can we get and who can we get at the right time? Who's Mr. Right? Who's Mr. Right now? As they say.
It's fair. I think they're going to have some plan A and plan B, but I think they're going to focus on who they want as the best candidate and then try to get that person.
One of the Formula One teams on Sunday actually said, we're thinking of going to plan D. And the announcers are like, we've never heard of plan D before. What is plan D? So I hope we don't have to go to plan D, John. I don't want to go to plan. I feel like plan D is going back and getting Gus back or something. At that point, you really don't want to be at plan D.
No plan D.
We're going to plan D. All right. So let's see. Immediate reaction to Saturday. We talked about this a little bit. You said, can we put Hugh Freeze on trial again after that offensive performance by Auburn on Saturday? Not because anything Hugh Freeze did on Saturday, because of what we did on Saturday without him. Holy cow.
No, he was the governor ramping down the offense to that level we've seen this year.
Yeah.
And it is obvious it could have been so much better. So I think
we knew it, though. We knew it all season long.
It doesn't take a football genius to look at that talent and say we should have been better.
Why are we not rolling up and down the field? What's the deal? I know I can't fathom it. And then it took 6 days without him to ring up offensive records, the likes of which we haven't done since SEC championship games and national championship games 15, 25, 20 years ago, which we'll get to in a minute. And I'm like, and against Vanderbilt, who has a good defense. This wasn't against Ball State.
Well, this is the other part. That defense is better than the Arkansas-Kentucky defense. It is better. It's advanced stats, basic stats. The Vanderbilt defense is better than Vanderbilt or Kentucky.
They've been good all season. Yeah. I mean, if we could have done what we did against Vanderbilt all season, we would be 8-2. Well, at worst.
Yes, but I want to talk about that later. I want to come back to that.
All right. Well, didn't I have a? Oh yeah. We'll put Freeze on trial again. Here we go.
What are you looking at? A dead man. You're arrested and condemned.
Arrested and condemned. There it is. Is there anything else about the trial you wanted to say, or is that just a rhetorical question? Good. So there's been a narrative forming in social media the last couple of days that nothing on Saturday was different. Basically, this idea being pushed that, well, we still lost. So what difference did it make if the offense was better, the defense wasn't as good or whatever, and they still don't know how to win, and so nothing has really changed, and misery, woe is me, and all that. And I'm like, I don't understand how anybody could have looked at that game and not felt like things were better, that there was hope. I mean, I know that a couple of guys that I enjoy watching on YouTube that are not us were talking about it and saying along the lines of, there was different scenery outside the train, but the train was still going to the same destination. And I'm like, well, if what you're worried about is just the destination and nothing else, sure, we lost, just like we lost those other games. But to look at the Kentucky game and then look at the Vanderbilt game, one is on a train and the other is on the Concorde going supersonic speed. I mean, you know, it's you might both end up at a destination, but I mean, that I just can't fathom how anybody could be that negative looking at how our offense so drastically improved in less than a week.
It's fair. I mean, there were other things that were the same. The large number of penalties that didn't change. Yeah. So some of who the team is fundamentally the same.
It's just baked in at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, with an offense that can move the ball and score 38 points at Vanderbilt, I wish we could go back and replay the whole season. I have tremendous hope. After the Kentucky game, would you want to go back and replay the whole season?
No.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's different. That's fundamentally different. After the Kentucky game, we don't want to see the 2025 season again in the rearview mirror anywhere. After the Vanderbilt game, God, I'd give anything to replay this season now. That's a fundamentally different. That is not the same destination. If you arrive at your destination and there's that much discrepancy in those two outcomes, that's not the same destination. It's just not. It's like I go to Florida. I get there and it's the middle of winter and there's a hurricane versus I get to Florida and it's bright and sunny and there's tropical drinks and girls in bikinis. Yeah, I arrived at the same destination, but guess what? One's a lot more preferable than the other, even if it's the same destination.
I get it, but will the offense continue to look like that? Unknown.
Fair.
There's a lot of post-firing coaches dead cat bounces sometimes with teams, and that may have been what happened. We don't know if the offense will do that again. And B, this is the point I was going to make later, is part of the reason our defense has looked so good all season is because other teams know they don't have to get out of third gear when they play us, because they knew that they only needed to score 20 points. So Georgia did not have the same urgency on offense against us that they had against Alabama and Tennessee. And what we saw Saturday was Vanderbilt realized they had to put the pedal to the floor. And when they did, they moved the ball and scored a bunch of points on us. And so what I'm saying is, if we had better offense earlier in the year, I feel like, A&M or Georgia, some of these other teams would have accelerated their offense and scored more points against us. This is my theory.
I understand that theory, but I also think that they wouldn't have left it so close. Oklahoma and Texas A&M in particular left it really close with us. If we'd had 15% better offense in those two games, they'd have really screwed up by treating us that way.
That's fair. That's very true.
So, well, look back and think how close we came to being the only team to beat Texas A&M.
I know.
God, Oklahoma needed. Oh, Oklahoma game it's just like two Oklahoma games in a row now.
Yes.
Just eats at my soul.
At both games, we were winning in the fourth quarter.
Yes. And one, Oklahoma did what they had to do. Good on them. I'm mad. I'm disappointed. I want revenge, but I can't say anything. The second one, I can say plenty and have said plenty, and I'll just leave it at that. Let's see. All right, let's talk very quickly about the game itself. 45-38 in overtime. Big Auburn crowd as always, although it was one person, three people smaller than it would have been.
But maybe there were Auburn fans in your seats.
Yeah, oh well. I got to be honest, though. As much as it would have been nice to be there, especially if we had won, and as nice as it would have been to be there in the first half, when that game was over we all looked at each other and said, I'm so glad I'm not driving back from Nashville 4.5 hours tonight. I'm so glad. We'd have been getting in about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was so glad not to have to do that. I'll be honest. Oh man,
that's very reasonable.
All right, talk to us about this game. What you got?
All right, the first thing is just what you mentioned earlier was how great the offensive performance was, and I got a few stats about that. The most first downs in a quarter for Auburn since the 2010 national title game.
That's unbelievable. That's not the game I would have picked either, because there wasn't a lot of offense in that game.
Maybe it was the 2013 national title game where he had that big first half.
Well, no, I think you're right that it was 2010, but there's so many other games I would have picked before that one, but that's what I heard, so I don't think you're wrong. I just think it's weird.
All right, and then we had a 300-yard passer, a 100-yard rusher, and 2 100-yard receivers. First time since the 2004 SEC title game. Unbelievable.
That was Jason Campbell throwing to Ace and Deuce, or probably Courtney Taylor, and then Cadillac.
Yep, huge.
To think that we could go 21 years and have an offense look like this against Vanderbilt on the road when they're a good Vanderbilt team. Again, this just all makes me sad for the previous part of the season.
It's waste. It's waste of that talent that
malpractice
showed on Saturday.
Terrorism.
Right. Coaching malpractice.
Terrorism.
And then we had 563 yards of offense, the most since 2019 versus Mississippi State, and the most against a ranked team since 2016 Arkansas, which I believe was the
Sean White. That was
the big running
back.
That was the Petway game.
Yeah, that was the game where Petway just ran all over. They couldn't even pretend to stop him. Yeah. Were we at that game? I can't remember.
I don't think
we were at an Arkansas game, but I don't remember if it was that one or not. We did a live show from an Arkansas game.
Wow.
But I don't remember what year that was.
Maybe it was that one.
I'm not sure. Maybe it was 18. Don't know.
And then Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton both had a huge game. We finally started using them correctly. They had more, catches and more yards they've had in the last several games.
Amen. Jeez. I'm at a loss for words. We threw the ball to Eric Singleton. We didn't just give it to him on the jet sweep. Revelation. And we used Cam Coleman on one-on-one, go get the ball.
Yes.
What we've been begging for all year.
Yes. And we threw the ball to them in pass patterns where they were moving forward and not coming backward.
Oh, sweet Lord, have mercy.
We threw we'll come back to the offense. And then Ashton Daniels had 353 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 106 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns.
And it would have been like 160 if that touchdown hadn't come back.
That's right. And another touchdown. That's some Cam Newton kind of number right there.
Ashton Daniels had a hell of a game.
He did. Looked like a different human being.
Not that I was dying to see it, but I am curious what Jackson Arnold would have looked like.
I'm sure he would. I don't know if he'd have looked like that, but I clearly he would have looked better.
Better than he has.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if he could have looked better than Ashton Daniels did. Ashton had a heck of a game.
He looked awesome.
But yeah, I agree. I think it could have been the best Jackson Arnold game of the year if he had played. But I'm glad we didn't have to find out. Now, do you play against Mercer? Do you play Jackson Arnold and Deuce Knight and keep Ashton on the bench for Alabama? Or
I have that on the list for later, but we'll answer it now. Like, this is the deal. If Ashton Daniels plays against Mercer, he cannot redshirt. His eligibility is done after we play Alabama. If he sits out the Mercer game and starts against Alabama, then he can play next year.
Does he want to play next year?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
So
then you sit him out against Mercer. That's
and you play Jackson Arnold the Deuce Knight.
Yeah.
And what if it's close?
If it's close against Mercer, then we just stop playing football and shut the program down.
You may want to sit down for my Mercer preview. So
I know they're relatively good. I know that.
Yes.
All right.
All right. So we're still in the Vanderbilt game. Apportionment of blame. For the first time this season, the defense makes an appearance on apportionment of blame. They have not had any blame cast on them.
Just scratch the record of our show, John. Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
And the tackling wasn't great. I think we definitely had games we tackled better in space. The coverage wasn't great, especially against the tight ends and stuff. And we're going to give some credit to the Vanderbilt offense. They're just freaking good. Pavia is much better than he was 2 years ago.
He was the difference. I mean, how many times did we see the play where he drops back, we get a pass rush on him, and he runs in the little U shape, and every time they'd be grabbing for him, and he would be an inch. Their fingertips would brush his socks. And then he'd go for like 10 or 15 yards, and there'd be nobody there because the receivers have cleared it out. And every time I would find myself like, they can get him. They can't get him. If they just had like a spy on him or something, just somebody in front of him. But
we did. We had players doing that, but he's good. He is He's way freaking better than he was 2 years ago. He has really improved, and he made good plays in this game. And last thing, I think we had penalties. I think we had 10, 11 penalties in this game. Some of the same kind of stuff we've been doing in other games, some false starts and that kind of stuff. And then we had injuries, and one defensive back I think really mattered in this game. So
yes, that was a big part of it. We told our defensive backs,
"Do yourself no injury,"
but they don't always listen.
No,
didn't always listen.
All right. So what else about the offense impressed you?
We did things that you and I have been calling on them to do all year. They did some screen passes. They had the running back out in the flat a couple of times, but not as many times as I would have. But I sent you a video thing about it. There was a play where we had a 3rd and 19, and we converted it.
Yes.
Because Vanderbilt had like 5 guys deep, nothing in the middle, and then 6 guys up on the defensive front, 6 rushing. And they brought the house. And Daniels dropped this little thing off. It didn't even look like a screen pass. It's a short pass to the right. But sure enough, the whole offensive line was out there, and it was Malcolm Simmons, I believe. And he got the first down.
We have been calling for that kind of freaking screen all year because it's great when the other team is rushing blindly upfield to get the quarterback, and we haven't run it at all. We ran it Saturday, and it paid off.
And I was going to say, the one thing you can say for Hugh Freeze, he didn't show defenses our good plays. So they didn't know they were coming. They didn't know they were coming.
Fooled them.
Yeah. I'm sure Vandy at practice is like, you can just full out blitz the quarterback because they're not going to run a screen pass. And
and we also moved Daniels in the pocket. He didn't sit at one point. Drop back and sit there.
He may have been sacked a time or two. I don't know. But there was never a survey the field sack.
Yes.
There was never one of those pull your hair out, throw the dang ball, do something sacks that just
He got rid of the ball quickly.
Yes. Yes, he did. There was one where he had one step, bang, and then he was hit, but it was gone, and they were already made a big play.
But we had players in position quickly in routes. They weren't these 5-second developing routes way downfield.
Amen. Amen. Everything about it. Yeah, Daniels is decisive. He's on the attack. We got to talk about Cam Coleman. I mean, and Singleton too, to be fair. Singleton was a great possession receiver.
Yes.
I was trying to think who I would compare them to, the two of them. Singleton I mean, honestly, look a little bit like Obamanu, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I mean, you know who really Cam Coleman more than anybody? I got to go back to Lawyer Tillman.
Yes.
One-on-one making plays over defensive backs.
But I think Coleman's better than him at the body control, catching the ball, feet down, and even like can't see the ball really, but catch it one-handed. I mean, those catches were insane.
The touchdown was I was calling it an AI catch because the ball went through the defender's body and came out the other side for him to catch it blind. I'm like, that's got to be AI. It's a live AI, right? It couldn't actually have happened, but they just murdered the defensive player because they threw a football through his body, but it just went like around and oh my gosh. And then we did the same thing on the 2-point conversion. And I wanted to talk about the last play when we went on overtime on 4th down. That was really a damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if you throw it to Cam Coleman, everybody in the stadium knew that ball was going to him. And you knew they were going to double him. But if we didn't throw it to him, every Auburn couch coach, right, quarterback is going to be saying, why didn't you throw the ball to Cam Coleman? It worked the last 2 times. So you had to do it, but you also had to know the likelihood of it working was less than it had been previously because they knew it was coming.
Sure. But I was fine with that. We needed a little better pass, but going to Coleman was the right decision.
Yeah, if it had been about a foot lower, he might have been able to come down with it inbounds. There was also that catch where he came down and somehow got the foot, the blue foot. Remember the 2 white shoes and the blue shoe? You're like, what? That was Michael Jordan-esque in terms of flight capability, hovering.
It was incredible body control. I thought there was. When he came down, I was like, no way he got his toe down, but he did.
Yeah. On Bang Bang, I was like, no, there's no way. And you see the replay and you're like, wait a minute, what? And then you see the replay again. You're like, holy cow, he actually caught that.
Mm-hmm.
And I still thought, well, they're not going to, because these calls never go our way, even when it's obvious. And it went our way. I'm like, well, it's a brand new day. It's a new, as Gus would say, it's a new day. It's a new day. Well, it's a new day. The running game, but did we use anybody besides Jeremiah Cobb?
I think Omar had a couple of carries, but it was mostly Cobb. Cobb had 16 carries. Daniels had 18. Mabson had 1, and then Singleton had 1 on an end around early in the game.
Yeah. But we didn't see Darrell Robinson.
No.
And we only saw Mabson once. But I felt like we used the running game about as much as we needed to. I never felt like I wish we would run the ball more. There was never a point when I thought that.
No, but it was definitely Cobb had 16 carries and 4 catches. And so I think that was about as much usage as we could get out of him. So if we needed to run the ball more, I think we needed to use Mabson maybe. But
and you just said that the quarterback had more carries than he did.
That's right.
So when you add those 2 together, that's probably, especially considering how quickly that first half went by. The first half was gone in less than an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Second half lasted 3 hours. Yeah.
Felt like it would never end.
I know, but the first half was over before I even sat down with the snack or something. I couldn't believe it. All right, Auburn defense versus Vandy offense.
So we stopped them on the first few drives, and then you remember right before half, they had that drive where they went up tempo and went bang, bang, bang.
Bang, 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 touchdown. Bang, 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 like 3 plays.
Literally, like I got up for a second, and I was like, wait, what? They're already down here? And then I think they realized their normal offense, a kind of slower ball control, wasn't working. Yes. And they weren't running the ball as well. They weren't having as much success early in the game. But they saw this up-tempo thing worked against us.
Mm-hmm.
So they went back to it and attacked downfield more in the second half, and that made a huge difference. Auburn really misses Champ Anthony. He was injured in the first half of Kentucky. That's why Javon Robinson, who's number 5, was playing so much as safety, and then there's a real drop off there. And I think him, Robinson and some of the other guys covering the tight ends was not a good matchup, and Vanderbilt took advantage of it. We also saw Vanderbilt was holding a lot, and they did not get called for that at the entire game.
Never.
And they had Auburn had 10, 11 penalties. Vanderbilt had like 3. So there was definitely some home cooking in that department. But our defensive line played really well. They were getting upfield. They were, as you said, they were disrupting Pavia. They weren't letting him get comfortable. They weren't always getting there. And then, like I talked about, I think this was the first time another team was scared of our offense and really put the pedal down on their offense because they were scared that we could outscore them. And in a way that other teams have been like, let's do just enough against their defense and not take chances. And Vanderbilt had to take some chances. They really, really had to stretch themselves and push to try to beat us. As you noted, it went to overtime. And so,
well, they had to give up on the run, on the running back run. We absolutely took away their run game other than Pavia.
That's right.
And so if they had been playing with any kind of normal quarterback, we'd have won that game by double digits.
That's right.
He was the difference, 100%. He was the difference.
That's the truth.
So we got the week off.
Yep.
To prepare for Mercer. You need an extra week off for Mercer, I'm being told. Wait, I'm getting an update from RoboJohn. We need an extra week off to prepare for Mercer because apparently they are better than Vanderbilt.
They're not better than Vanderbilt, but they're better than South Alabama and Ball State, the 2 non-conference teams we played earlier this season, which the score was going back here. South Alabama was 31-15. Auburn at home.
Yeah.
And they're better than that team.
Well, but our offense is going to be a lot better than it was against South Alabama too. I found a quote from you that goes well with the Vanderbilt game. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
They're going to be fun, but fun does not equal W's.
We had fun. We had fun Saturday, but it did not, in fact, equal W's. That's fair. That's a good point, John. Thank you, John, thank you, John of 2018 or whenever that was for
young John did not know the pain that was coming his way.
Lord. I'm going to ship Boris back to you.
Okay.
And you can just do what I do. Just hug Boris and it all feels better. It all gets better.
Joking aside, we are obviously going to use the week to prepare for Alabama and then use next week to prepare for Mercer. But Mercer does run the option, and it is a weird, tricky offense. And if we do not prepare for them, but we spend every minute prepare for Alabama, they will move the ball on us, and it will be uncomfortable and unpleasant. And I think, as we've talked about, the decision to not play Daniels in this game could lead to – we don't know that Jackson Arnold would do the same thing at quarterback. He could, go out there and flop around, and then we're in a situation where do we throw him out and throw Daniels out there?
I know. I mean, I guess you have to get the win over Mercer because then if you beat Alabama, you're in a bowl game.
I don't want to go to a bowl game.
I know, but they do. And I'm just saying they're not going to take the L against Mercer if there's a possibility. If you throw, I just don't think there's any way you play Ashton Daniels against Mercer.
I mean, I think you asked the important question was, what does he want to do?
Yeah.
And if he views this as his opportunity and he wants to play, then play him. Right.
See, I don't know what the opposite of the cognoscenti is. The great unwashed.
Mm-hmm.
If Durkin comes out and says we're starting Arnold, people will somehow take that as a critique that Ashton Daniels did not do enough. And Lord knows Ashton Daniels did enough. Okay.
That's a true statement.
The cognoscenti will be like, no. Ashton Daniels did so well that we're saving him for Alabama and all of next year, maybe. But the non-cognoscenti will be like, well, Durkin's an idiot because he's putting, Ashton Daniels played a really good game and he's benching him. That's what you're going to hear.
There are no guarantees in this world, and there's no guarantee Daniels wants to come back to Auburn next year or would be the starting quarterback if he did come back next year. We don't know who the coach is going to be, much less the offense. So,
honestly, and I hate to do this to Jackson Arnold, but it might be better PR to just start Deuce Knight against Mercer, because at least that way people will be like, oh, okay, so it's not that Ashton did anything bad. They're just letting the young guy get in, against
right.
a weaker team.
Then we'll actually see what he can do and know, do you want him next year or not?
All right. Imagine this. Okay. Imagine this. Deuce Knight, not in the Hugh Freeze version of this offense, but in the offense we saw Saturday against Vanderbilt.
I think he's probably much more excited to come in and run that offense.
Lord, I'm ready to see it.
I am too.
I did not have a lot of confidence in how he would do trying to run Freeze's offense a week ago. No. But I feel much better about him now. I'll tell you that much. And honestly, I want to see what happens against Mercer. I want to see how the offense looks against Mercer and certainly against Alabama. But I mean, let's just remember, Derek Nix was beloved of Lane Kiffin. People that are slobbering all over Lane Kiffin and wanting him to be our coach, if we hadn't hired Derek Nix already, Lane Kiffin would be bringing him to Auburn as his offensive coordinator. And if we hired somehow Lane Kiffin anyway, we could keep Derek Nix. And Lane would probably be thrilled.
Or if we had hired Lane Kiffin last time, Derek Nix would be here anyway.
Yeah, right. I just want to get back to this. I feel like the revelation of that game was not just Ashton Daniels, not just Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton. The revelation of that game was Derek Nix. Clearly, Lane Kiffin knew what he was talking about. Imagine what Lane Kiffin has been thinking all season, seeing the Auburn offense the way it's been playing. He's probably been laughing his tail off privately, if not publicly.
Oh, he retweeted something the other day when Auburn said Derek Nix will be calling all the plays.
Oh, yeah. Well, he knows how good he is. Again, he hired him.
Well, but also Auburn said publicly Derek Nix was calling the plays when we hired him because that's what we had to do to get him out of Ole Miss.
Out of the contract. Yes, that's exactly right.
It was obvious he was not calling the plays.
But I'm just saying, based on what I saw, I'm hard-pressed to think of an offensive coordinator I'd rather have. And I never thought I would say that up until now. But if you told me I could put together my dream staff, like let's say I bring in John Summerall as the head coach, I 100% want to keep Derek Nix as the offensive coordinator for him. If it'll work. If they can make it work. Because I've seen, that was Saturday was supposed to be DJ Durkin's job interview. It looked more like Nix's job interview to me.
That's fair. Nix may end up going with Lane Kiffin wherever he goes again. So.
It's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out. Alabama again coming up. 2 weeks ago I thought we had no hope. We're going to get blown out 49-0. Now I feel like, so you're telling me there's a chance, right?
You want to hear something else?
I'm going to put the big yellow believe sign up over my door.
Good, because I'm going to tell you something else. Alabama can't run the ball, and Alabama cannot stop the run.
I like it. I like it a lot. This is exciting. Tell me more.
They listen. LSU shut their running game down. And that's not the only team. They can't line up and run the ball on people. When they beat people, it's because they're throwing the ball all over the place, and they can't stop the run. Teams are running. You're going to see that this weekend when they play Oklahoma. Oklahoma's going to shut their running game down, and Oklahoma's going to run the ball all over them.
You think Alabama? You think Oklahoma's got a chance to take them out?
Well, probably not, but they'll at least make them look bad in those two areas. So. But it'll be a game.
Okay, so I found my yellow Post-its, my blue pen, and I made a little miniature version.
There you go. I like it.
I'm ready for the Iron Bowl. Did you see Cam Newton talking to Shannon Sharp? It may have been an older thing that I saw, but there was just one thing he said in this interview, because I know he talked to him a while back. I am aware of that. This may have been part of that wasn't talked about before, but it just struck me as funny, and I wanted to mention it before we move along. It was where Cam was talking about his time at Florida. It was mostly about his time at Florida and how he got along or didn't get along with various players and everything, and Urban Meyer and all. And then at the end of that little segment, Shannon Sharp asked him something like, it's like, you never got to play Florida when you were at Auburn. And Cam's like, the single thing I was most disappointed in that season was that we didn't get them in the SEC championship game. He said, this is what Cam said, so take it for what it's, okay. He said, I'd have been like a baboon. I'd have showed them my. I'm like, okay, Cam, you said that, not me. But I just love the idea that he really wanted to go off on Florida and on Urban Meyer. That would have been great. I do wish we could have played him that year. Who knows? They might have been the one that beat us, but it would have been cool if we had. But we got fun. South Carolina instead. We did get Steve Spurrier, just not Florida. So, all right, let's talk a little basketball. We love the basketball. We beat Bethune and Cookman both on Monday in overtime, which was not great, to give Stephen Pearl his first official, actual, not an exhibition win, and not a preseason, not a early season when he's an interim. His actual full first Auburn head coaching official win is what that was. And then we sank the Merrimack 95-57. I hope you saw my little graphic of Albie standing on the monitor.
I appreciated that. It was good.
Okay, good. There was no AI used, mainly because AI didn't do worth a crap on it. I had to go into Photoshop and do it myself. So what did you think about those two games? What did they show you?
Well, I mean, the Bethune-Cookman game was way closer and less fun than it needed to be.
Yes.
We did not – again, didn't play either of our starting centers very much in that game, either of our centers or starting center or backup center much of that game. And then our starting center, Keyshawn Murphy, sat out the Merrimack game. Merrimack plays a weird zone defense, and we basically annihilated them in the second half, just kind of pulled away.
I didn't see Murphy playing. He didn't play. He sat out. Okay.
No, because he's banged up. And so what I would tell you is, we haven't seen our real lineup in either game yet, but I think it was, Bethune-Cookman, I think, was actually, painful. It was close. It was way more tense than it needed to be. At the end of regulation, Stephen Pearl did a great job, though, where he brought the team together. And instead of yelling at him and fussing at him, like, why are we in this situation? Y'all got to get it together. He said, hey, guess what? We get 5 more minutes of Auburn basketball. Let's go have fun out there. Go get it done. And that was it, and it worked. They went and played great overtime period.
Well, the only reason that we even went to overtime in that game was because we did an incredibly stupid thing, which is foul a three-point shooter at the half-court line at the buzzer.
And then we did it again in the Merrimack game at half. We fouled the guy at the end of the half with a 3-point shot. Gave him 3 free throws.
And they sent us to overtime in the Bethune-Cookman by making all 3.
Mm-hmm.
Making all 3, yeah. So You got to cut that out. Can't be doing that.
That's
not good.
That is
Don't let them.
Not smart.
Do not foul a desperation heave from half court. That's just the dumbest thing you can possibly do in basketball.
That's right.
So 2-0, but we got Wofford, and then things get a little more difficult. We don't have all the gigantic, scary out of conference teams we did last year, but we still got
we got plenty. We got plenty. We're playing 4 of the Ken Palm top 10 out of conference. So we play Wofford Tuesday night, so tomorrow night, November 11th, in Neville Arena at 8 Eastern on SEC Network Plus. And then Sunday afternoon, we play Houston in Birmingham at 3 p.m. Eastern on regular ESPN.
But it's not at Boutwell, thank God.
No.
It's on an actual basketball court and not an ice skating rink or whatever the crap that was.
Exactly. And Houston is really good. I think they're number 2 in the Ken Palm rankings right now. And that is going to be a gigantic challenge. That you remember the defense that kind of team plays. That's going to be a big challenge for this Auburn team.
Well, bearing in mind, when we play Houston, it'll be 2 Final Four teams from last year. The only difference is we don't have anybody really back except Tahad and that one other guy that we've been leaving off.
That's right.
One kid. So it reminds me, I've said this before, it reminds me of when we played UNLV in the tournament and beat them. And then the next year they came to Auburn with the same team, and we had a whole new team, and they just beat the stew out of us in Memorial Coliseum.
Yep.
It's going to be a similar situation, I'm afraid.
I think what I would say is for this basketball team, we got to have patience, right? I think, I said, we have not seen the real lineup yet. We have not seen our starting and backup centers play in the minute and stuff, the rotation. And I think that interior defense is a huge, it's worlds apart, worlds difference with those two playing. We're playing, Jovic out of position at center. He's not a defensive center. So
no, he's not a center. That could really bite us in the SEC play. It's why I predicted 18 wins. I think we'll be. I predicted we would win 18 games by looking at our out-of-conference schedule and taking the games that I thought we should win, and then looking at the SEC schedule. And basically, anytime we play at a decent team, I said loss. And anytime a really good team played at Auburn, I said loss, and that left me with 18.
Wow.
That's how I got to 18.
I think that's
Plus we go to Florida, which now, it's one of those things where we absolutely could go 20 years and never win at Florida with great teams and then take this team down there and somehow luck out a win or freakish. Or absolutely could happen.
This is what I was going to say about this team in particular has a huge variance between its highest highs and its lowest lows. Last year's team, you knew exactly what you were going to get every week, especially early in the season. This year's team, they might show up and beat Houston and run them off the court, or Houston might put them in the sleeper hold and we lose by 40. There's no telling what's going to happen in that game. And a lot of these big non-conference games, we haven't played away from home. In a real game, we don't know how that's going to go, even in front of what will be a pro Auburn crowd. But we certainly haven't played anybody that plays defense like Houston does. And so I'm sure there's going to be some ugly trips down the court in that game.
And it's not helping that Tahad is having a horrible start to the season with his shooting.
He is, but we scored basically 95 points in every game we played.
Every game so far, yeah.
We scored 95 points in the 2 exhibitions of the 2 games, and Tahad has not played well offensively.
Yeah. So Keyshawn Hall. I actually got clapped back on Twitter because when Keyshawn Hall went off a couple of games, I said, this is what I've been talking about that he was capable of. And some guy, I guess a Big 12 fan, jumped back at me and said, wow, you said the leading scorer in the Big 12 would have a good offensive year. That's very, very, bold statement of you. And I'm just like anybody in the SEC has any idea what some guy in the Big 12 is doing. So I wasn't claiming special knowledge. I was just saying for those that don't follow the Big 12, and why would you, this is a guy we should watch. And sure enough, he looks like he is the real deal.
Well, and he's drawn a ton of free throws. I think he's on pace, I think, to break the school free throw record for attempts and makes. So,
well, you certainly wouldn't have had that threat in the last couple of years when they never called anything on the other team fouling us. So,
nope.
I guess he's just better at getting the referee to call the foul, right? Making it look like.
I think it's obvious. It's a good thing. I think you're right. Broom and Cardwell in particular got hacked a lot, and they never called anything. But some of it's because they were bigger than everybody else. But he is stronger than a lot of small forwards and faster than a lot of bigger forwards, and he puts people in bad positions when they're guarding him, and they foul, they reach. So
yep. And he makes the free throws too.
Yes, big time.
Doesn't help much if he does that and then misses a bunch, but he makes them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's huge. Absolutely. Yeah. So we know 3 or 4 or 5 of our players and what they bring to the table, and we're going to be learning the others all together, right? We know Keyshawn Hall now pretty well. We know Tahad.
We know Keyshawn Murphy, the starting center, is the guy from Mississippi State. We need him. He's a big, reliable guy, can score in the post, can play good defense, can rebound. We need him healthy, for the SEC run and against some of these better teams. And I think, and the other guy I've really liked is Overton, the guard from Texas Tech. I mean, he makes plays. He plays good defense. He distributes the ball when gets up and down the court. So I'm excited about him too.
So who is our go-to scorer besides Keyshawn Hall?
Well, one of the other guys has been this true freshman power forward, Sebastian Williams-Adams. Like, that guy has been great so far. He's really making stuff happen. I thought, that'll be a guy that we have to wait on. But I would say he's, a guy that now I'm like, maybe he should be starting or whatever. So I think he's up there. I think Freeman. I'm going to look right now. Okay, Keyshawn Murphy is the second leading scorer. Then Sebastian Williams-Adams. Then Tahad. All right. Then Overton, then our backup center, who had a really good game against Merrimack, Emeka Oporum.
Yeah. So,
and then Freeman. So I think Murphy, is going to be a reliable scorer. I mean, the center, I think he can give us some good low post stuff and balance. With him, Tahad, Hall, I think we got guys who can make it happen.
I do wish we had one more big guy inside. I mean, I know that's kind of out of fashion in the modern game, but we got so spoiled with the Twin Towers last year. And now just having the one guy and he's hurt, it just really – is there any idea when Murphy's going to be back healthy? I know he hurt himself trying to help somebody off the stupid floor at Boutwell, which is really –
well, and then he twisted his ankle the other night. So I think they're trying to may hold him out of this game Tuesday if they hope they can get him ready for Houston. I think that's the plan, probably.
All right. Well, are we to the pick'em?
We are. They're looking at the weekly ranking this week, and there were 2 teams that got the every game right this weekend, and it was Insert Your Ad Here and Trixie's Pixies, which is a great name. Right. They both got 6 out of 6. I did not do that, and you did not either, but those 2 did. But Cato the Barner alone in first place, followed by Auburn Football's Elvis and Show Me Your TDs. Those are the teams at the top. So, very close race still, a lot of back and forth. So I think, a lot of teams are within, 4 or 5 games, and we've got a few weeks to go. So it's going to be fun to see what happens.
I I'm sorry. I was going to check on the Fantasy Formula One. Give me 1 second here.
All right, I'll throw out some other fun team names while you're doing that.
It's not letting me sign in, so I'm not going to do it.
All right.
Well, I don't understand why, but occasionally we just have a real problem with logging into the Formula One website. Huh. Oh, well, I'm just going to go ahead and say that Michael Kirshner is probably still winning.
I think that's a fair statement.
He's doing so well. Oh crap! I just messed something up. Oh well, I can't even see you or me right now. I've totally messed everything up. Here we go. All right, it's time. Did you say you had to do something?
No. Go.
Time for the patrons. I remind people over and over, this is one of the few podcasts of its type, or any type really these days, that does not have ads. And the reason we don't have ads is because that's the perk we give you for having great, strong patron support. So go to www.auwishbone.com and you will find that if you look there,
I have friends
everywhere on there. And they're so good and they keep us going. www.auwishbone.com. And one of the things they get to do is they get to have their name read on the air, and their names are almost always entertaining. We start out with the great Samuel Salvatore. He did remind us last week he went to the store and couldn't even get a quarterback. But, Samuel, I think we got a quarterback. I think we got at least one if you put him in the right offense. So I'm very, very excited. We also have to thank Logan Chilton, who asks, what do you sacrifice to be an Auburn fan?
So what do I sacrifice?
That's the question.
Everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, we Saturday, I still don't know how to react to it. We just talked about it for half an hour of the show, and I don't know how to react to it. Ben Spooner, whatever, I would put it this way. He wants me to bring this up, but I always like to think of what I relate it to. And I think this week I'm going to say whatever Hugh Freeze was doing to our offense.
Blasphemy!
I think so. Carl Von Drunker, Chris and Clinton Stewart. I really could have had a better game plan. Well, could have been Hugh there. Earl Ricks, Phil Amthor, now giving Van and John a break from the no sound clip since the dismal years are over, I hope. Well,
please clap.
Yeah, amen to that. Richard Stevens, Steve Trawick, Ann Pridgeon, Shane Bailey, Susan Trawick. We're in weird. They're all different orders now. Willie Carden, Matt Flowers. Play it again, Van. I think that is. Yep.
My head hurts, my feet stink, and I don't love Jesus. That kind of morning really was that kind of night.
Gary Grant, a.k.a. fan at KSC. William Morgan, Bradley Blackman. By the way, John, I meant to tell you. Oh, we'll talk about we do it in the end segment. Bradley Blackman, Eric Morgan, Michael Kirshner, who I believe is currently winning Fantasy Formula One. I'll figure out how to log in, and next week we'll report on that, because we had the Brazil race this past weekend, and it was all Lando all the time. It's amazing. Are you caught up on that? That Lando dominated the weekend, won the sprint, won the big race, and went from 1 point ahead of Oscar Piastri, to like 25 points ahead now. And I mean, 2 weeks ago, two races ago, it looked like Norris was toast. And now I think he's the odds-on favorite, right?
Gotta be. There's only a few races left.
Piastri has just melted down like Greg Norman on the back nine at Augusta on Sunday.
He's young.
Well, they're changing everything next year. McLaren might not even be the best car next year, so we'll see.
Sure.
And you know not to go too far down this rabbit hole, but just real quickly, you know what team I keep hearing is going to have a really good car next year when they redo all the cars completely? Aston Martin. They've been kind of.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Well, and they do have the all important Stroll anchor holding them back, but they've got Fernando too, who's really good. But here's the thing: they hired Adrian Newey away from Red Bull like a year ago, and he's been working on next year's car. They pretty much said, "Screw this year." They're working on next year.
I was gonna say I trust whatever team that guy is on.
No, so that's where he is. I think Lance's dad just wrote him a check for the GNP of a small African country, and he's over there making new designs. Speaking of cars, if Carroll Shelby could see me, he'd say,
I don't speak Italian, but he ain't happy.
Well, I don't know. We're kind of half happy and half not. David W.D. Salmons Esquire, Harry Zager, G Money, Rich Reimer, Steve Harlan, Wes Atkinson, Dan Thompson, Catherine England. No one fights like Gaston. War Eagle always. Indeed. Mickey B. The three monkeys covering their faces, their eyes and nose and ears. Eyes and mouth and ears. Nose. Theodore Gary, Winston Body, defending fantasy F1 drivers and manufacturers champion Lane Middleton. Lane, you get to hold that title for probably another 3 or 4 weeks, and then you're going to have to concede it over to Mr. Kirshner. Brandon Smith, Daniel Odom, Rhodesian Mudflap, H-Town Danny. And by the way, I think I finished second like every freaking year that we've done the Fantasy Formula One. I'm just getting tired of second place. WDE Richie just wants to run a normal offense with the talent we have on offense. Well, I think we saw something like that. Chris Hilton, Ben Bloodworth, Bob WD Salmons, Auburn University Debate Team 74-75, and current Sleazy Shyster. Well, that one does kind of lead to the other, I guess. My daughter is a debate and model UN person, and she wants to go to law school, so we'll see. Algo Rhythm and Blues, Rusty Owens, goodbye, Hugh. Well, amen to that. Luther and Kelly Ottaway, to be frank with you, I'd have to change my name. Oh.
Ouch.
Todd Robinson, a.k.a. Undisputed 2012 Doubles Badminton Intramural Champion. These just get better every week. Woody the Jag, the official 2024 Bowl Mania Champion. We have Boris the Tiger, the 2023 Bowl Mania Champion, here in studio tonight. Chad McDowell, Auburn Football's Elvis, Wade Ward, Reynolds Wolf, Jeff Hunter, David Garner thinks we should fire Hugh Freeze out of a cannon. Let's do it. I can give him that one. Timothy, Russell Milling, Randall Walker, David Simpson, Josh Teal, Tony Perry, Rob Morgan, Patrick Williams says the AU Wishbone.
Whether you like it or not, learn to love it because it's the best thing going today.
Woo! I'm having to be careful because the soundboard is intermixed with the there. I don't want to cover you up so I can see you, but I don't want to cover up it's kind of annoying. I need 3 monitors. It needs to look like the MI6 set of like slow horses when they got like all the monitors to monitor London and everything. That's what I need in here. Shannon Butson, Construction Tiger, Papa Todd, Cato the Barner, Stephen Houston, Kevin Mahan, Blake Heron, Sarah Hines, Sasquatch, 6-time hide-and-seek national champion says, hire Durkin and get out of the way. On the field results matter. That's certainly one way to look at it. I won't argue. Tim Pittman, here he is, right here. Boris the Tiger. What? Charles Mooney, statistically 6 out of 7 dwarfs aren't happy. That's that you know what that is, John?
Yeah, that's a pretty bold statement.
But you know what?
You know what I mean? It's factual.
For those not watching on YouTube, John just committed seppuku live on the air. David D, Auburn Blue, Dr. Crackham, Bill Weathers, Wardam SEC champions. Walt is dumbfounded at Hugh Freeze's ineptitude and thinks he was a far worse on the field coach than was
Potatoes.
It's fair. I'm thinking too. Antoine Morris, ABB. I think Q owes us money at this point.
Get that right.
Antoine Morris, ABB, Wiggeber, the 2005 Auburn University Intramural Horseshoes champion. I guess these just get better and better. Tyler Ward, 2025 War Ready Bracket champion. Mark Squire, Joey Miller, Alex Nguyen. Kenneth Brent Raines always reminds us that the barbecue.
You have failed me for the last time.
AKA Auburn Dad for life. You know it, and yet it hasn't failed you for the last time because we're going to be right back again here next year to let it fail you again, unfortunately. But we'll see. We'll get it right. John Stubbs, Clay Henson, Justin Bean, James Taylor, Ruth, and Darren Sutherland. And finally, Stephen Thompson, Ben Amos, Spanky. I'm at the bottom of this list because...
Scott Wilson! Blasphemy!
Chris Como, Darren Pyle, David Smiley, Trevor Johnson, Royce Alvarez, college equestrian expert, Auburn Elvis. Don't be horsing around with us, Elvis. Hey, you falling up. John Otsuki, Paul Bankson, Russell Souther, MVP captivating Kathy Bright.
Your love of the halfling's leaf has clearly slowed your mind.
Ben Regas, Bobby Polite, Elizabeth Donald, I'll buy this for $1, Rich Hammett, Chris Braun, Alex Browns, Liver Cirrhosis Albie. I guess that's what happens when you have drunk Albie for too long. The Slinko family, Daniel Witten, Tim Sauls, Jim McCrory. Oh, no. It's back, John.
Uh-oh.
I will lick the toes of you. I will not lick the toes of Hugh. I do not like those toes of woe. I am Tiger. I'm not a hoe.
Well, Dr. Susie.
Wrong! Wrong! Wrong!
New York Tiger knows rooting for your team to lose so the coach gets fired is the last refuge of the damned. Hey.
Please clap.
There you go. There you go. I agree. By the way, I don't think that the delays there that were funny with the previous one will be as funny on the podcast as on YouTube, because on the podcast it shortens all the silences down, so it'll just sound like we didn't even. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Steve Bailey, CT Tiger, Jim Myers, Trey Jackson, Howard Frantz, Peter Wang, Willie Moe, Zach Doran, Chris, plus our one-time and anonymous donors. We thank you all very, very much. www.auwishbone.com. Coming up, we have an ice cream sandwich update, plus listener questions and around the SEC. But first, it's our semi-weekly occasional look at the most ridiculous, stupid, and annoying coaches, the worst coaches in the world. And I don't think there's any doubt. In fact, I'm only doing this again this week because it's the same one. We had Hugh Freeze on this list last time because we fired him and he was the worst coach in the world. Now, new evidence has come to light that we overestimated him being the worst coach in the world. He may have been the worst.
He's the worstest coach in the world.
He's the worster and worstest coach. I cannot imagine. I'm trying to think of an occasion where removing a coach from the thing they're known for the most made the team that much better. Has there ever been?
We dug up his bones and tried him again.
Yeah. And we said,
What are you looking at? A dead man. You're arrested and condemned.
I'm just going to leave it at that. Hugh Freeze, 2 weeks in a row, now and forever. You are the worst coach in the world. All right. And now, before we get into listener questions, I have a quick ice cream sandwich update. I do not have music for this segment, but I just wanted to point out, I've been trying to find the best ice cream sandwich, John. This all started when we went to a basketball game a couple of years ago, and they had a cabinet of free ice cream sandwiches. And I was so taken with it that I ate 2 or 3. And I came home and I told my family they had free ice cream sandwiches. It was so great. And my family pointed out to me, we can go buy you ice cream sandwiches. And I'm like, no, I don't think you understood. They were free.
The knob goes to 11.
Yes. Yeah. You can make the ice cream sandwich one louder, but this went to 11. It's true. So I was thinking about them because I had one left in the box tonight. I've been saving, and I was so looking forward to. And I unwrapped it, and when I pulled the paper off of it, I kept like an inch in my fingers, and the rest of it dropped in the trash.
Ouch.
Yes. My last ice cream sandwich, I unwrapped it, and it dropped in the trash. And I was just standing there like, no. So I went out to buy some more from Dollar General. And I was trying to figure out, I was standing there in the aisle at Dollar General trying to buy ice cream sandwiches and trying to figure out which one was probably the best, and reading different websites. And like one website said the Klondike is the best, and the next said it's the worst.
Klondike person.
Oh, but see, the next one said that their ice cream, it's light ice cream. It's barely even an ice cream product. It doesn't have any flavor. It's like melted marshmallows or something. They really had bad things to say about the Klondike. And what I want to know is, those really big, thick ones you can get at the gas station? Why can't I buy like a box of 6 of those?
You can. It's probably not.
I don't ever. The ones you usually buy are tiny.
While we're here, there is a local brand of ice cream sandwiches at a local company in Virginia called Nightingale that makes ice cream sandwiches, and they are spectacular. So if you ever see those.
Nightingale. Well, you remember when this was that crazy thing. We were in Texas for the Texas A&M game, and we found the Bluebell factory.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we were sampling their fine wares, and we found out that they have 2 factories. The other one, the one we were not at, is in Sylacauga, right. My hometown. I'm like, seriously? I could have been there like for years, and I had to go all the way to Texas to find this out. So anyway, what I've discovered, my last thing about this, I like an ice cream sandwich with a lot of ice cream in it. I like a high vanilla ratio versus chocolate. And I am told Fat Boy. I've never seen a Fat Boy ice cream sandwich. I don't know what they look like. I've never heard of them really before. It must be some Yankee thing I don't know about.
I think I've gotten one from an ice cream truck before.
All right. Well, apparently they have a lot of high ice cream ratio. So I'm going to try to track that down.
You could just bake some cookies and put a scoop of ice cream in between them. And
yeah, but that's a lot of work. I just want to peel some paper off, man. I ain't trying to get a job here. I just want to get an ice cream sandwich, for crying out loud. Okay. Anyway, be that as it may.
Thank you. Order. Questions to the Prime Minister.
It's time for listener questions. Dun,
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 dun.
on the AU Wishbone podcast.
All right. Our first email.
I'm sorry, it jammed up. It didn't work. Carry on.
Our first email is from Matt Flowers, and it's titled Coaching Options. And he says, Gentlemen and Boris.
What?
I appreciate the insights you shared last week regarding possible new head coaches for Auburn. I certainly appreciated the areas you highlighted beyond merely how good the options were at the X's and O's. I wanted to offer a different take on the who would you get question that has grown all too familiar for our fan base. If you could pick any coach from any active Power 4 school and be guaranteed that they would take the job and stay at least 4 years, who would you take based on both their skill in the position and what the kids these days call their aura? John's points on Summerall lead me to this question. Another way to put it is this. Who do you think would have the great sort of Bruce Pearl vibe where they're a talented coach, but furthermore, get what Auburn is, what the fans love, embrace being a fan, not merely a coach, and would go all in on the culture. Appreciate y'all, and War Eagle, Matt Flowers.
Great question, Matt.
If you could hire anybody from any coach, period, and they would be guaranteed they would take the job and be here 4 years, who would you think about hiring?
We're not going to say Ryan Day, are we?
No.
I mean, I would give a long look at Dan Lanning at Oregon.
Ding ding.
And Notre Dame's current coach.
Freeman. I would hire, to me, it would, again, we can hire anybody. I think Kirby Smart to be on the list.
Yeah.
That'd make us better and make Georgia weaker. So it's a win-win right there.
It is.
So if I guarantee to get him, man, when he stays 4 years, I think Kirby Smart to be on the list. But I think if I don't want to hire him, I think agree. I think it's Lanning. The other guy is Kurt Signetti of Indiana.
I thought about him. Yeah.
I mean, I think he's an excellent coach, and I think again they are the losing. Until this weekend, they were the losingest program in the history of college football. And they've now won 11 games and made the playoff 2 years in a row. So that he's good. I would pick Lanning just because he was an SEC assistant. He knows the deal. And I think he gets it. I think his teams, play with a very aggressive edge, and I think he gets them fired up. And I think, he hires good people. Their offense is good. He hired a good offensive coordinator and turned him loose. So.
Should we be able to hire Oregon's coach, or are they now at a level that we couldn't go get them?
No. I'm going to be honest and say no one can hire Oregon's coach now. Nobody. Not Texas, not Alabama, not Georgia.
Miami just did, so that's fine.
The guy Miami hired was from Miami. His parents live in Miami. I think his dad was a cop in Miami. He played at Miami. Okay, so when it's a mama called situation, that's not the same. And again, Florida State hired the Oregon coach before that. So Willie Taggart.
Yeah, that's right.
But one of the reasons Lanning is not going to leave is they've literally given him like Nike stock options. Like that's not a joke. Like it is like, you have to stay here this long, and then the stock vest, and you get it. So
wow,
nobody's going to get him out of there. But that's what I would do. Yeah. And I think he's also young. I think he still gets they've done well in the transfer portal and that kind of thing.
But I mean, saying all that, how do we feel about the coaches we're actually looking at hiring? Are we disappointed? Or are we like,
no. I mean, you have to make the best decision you can with what you have. Yeah. And you can, like, again, I appreciated, when Tuberville would go look for a new coordinator, he would do things in a very, at the time, I thought it was a very rational way. He'd pull up, he's looking for a new offensive coordinator. Great. Which teams were the best in the country on offense? Just pull up the stat thing. Let's call a person at number 1, number 2, number 3 until we get to somebody that he would literally do that kind of thing. So
yeah,
in that sense, I get it, but it's also like you have to deal with the people that you can get and not the people that you can't get. And I think the coaches that we've talked about on this podcast are realistic hires for this program.
Nobody said Kalen DeBoer.
No, and listen. Alabama fans wouldn't have said Kalen DeBoer after the first week of the season.
That's for sure.
They were ready to fire that man. Listen, if we beat them in November at the end of this month, they may be ready to fire him again.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's it.
All right. Our next is when Carol sent another audio question.
Okay.
And I have sent it to you.
Oh, you sent it to me. All right, we'll read another one, and All
right, I'll read another one while Van is preparing for Week Hero. This is from Jared, another haiku. He says, are you ready? Here we go.
Here we go.
Excellent progress, Only 1 week. Much improved. I hate Pavia. That's great. And then he has a bonus dad joke. He says, botanists successfully crossbred watermelon with cauliflower, but every time you eat it, you will get a little melancholy.
Wow.
Ouch.
All right. Here's, before this thing goes away, I'm going to try to hit it. Here's when, and he said he's going to keep it shorter, so let's see. Well, if it works. Here it goes.
Gentlemen, it's been about 45 minutes since the game ended. My head hurts, my feet stink, and I don't love Jesus. But I do have a gnawing question that I want to put forth to you. Unless you are an Auburn fan or a rabid player in the most recent version of the NCAA football game, chances are the rest of the nation was only vaguely familiar with Cam Coleman and his abilities. I think that drastically changed after tonight. One of the things that I witnessed as I scrolled through social media during the game was all of these accounts representing all of these top-tier programs just drooling over the prospect of picking him up in the transfer portal, not unlike the Tex Avery Wolf in those old cartoons. My question simplistically is this. Is there anything Auburn can do to keep this stellar athlete in the offseason besides a guarantee that any house he builds will have the best quality yellow wood on his porch deck and everywhere in between? Is there realistically a chance of keeping him at Auburn past this offseason? If so, what needs to be done? I'll hang up and listen. Thanks, y'all.
Yeah, I'll put it this way very simply. I would totally understand if Cam felt like he needed to go somewhere else. I get it. It's just like with Bo Nix. You know, dude can get in the NFL. If he doesn't feel like he's going to get there from here or he's going to do better, I understand. But I think that a combination of good NIL money plus if we make a good hire coming up with our coaching staff, I think those two things are probably paramount because everything else, it seems like the players like being there and they're not dying to transfer.
And he's from nearby. So, you know, it's close to home, but not too close. So it's in that sense, a good place. But you're right. It's about NIL dollars, NIL opportunities for him. So can Auburn connect him with Nike and other places to get him more NIL deals down the road? And then, you know, I think it does matter who the head coach is, what their offense is, who comes in at quarterback.
I want to see a Nike national ad featuring Cam Coleman in the Auburn uniform making those catches he made against Vanderbilt. That would just be so good. It'd be good for him and it'd be good for Auburn.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, they could do such a good ad with that. Okay, how many we still got?
All right, we got a couple more. Okay. Next one's from Reed Kimball, who says, who's next? He says, hello, gentlemen. I was wondering if you might consider authoring a new book called All We Did Was Lose. Anyway, it was refreshing seeing all that talent that Auburn football team had on offense utilized to its potential. 2 questions. 1, does this performance by the offense, despite the poor performance of the defense, help or hurt Durkin's case for head coach? And 2, should a combination of Deuce Knight and Jackson Arnold be used for the Mercer game in order to, number 1, keep Deuce satisfied, and 2, preserve Ashton's red shirt?
Yeah.
As always, thank you both for your hard work and unique perspectives. War Eagle Reed.
Thank you, Reed. No, that's good questions. We addressed the Mercer thing. What was the first part? The
first part was, does this performance help or hurt Durkin's case for head coach?
Yeah, I honestly thought it probably was a wash because I think it helped him as a head coach, but it might have hurt him a little bit as a defensive coordinator, honestly. I think that the big winner of that game was Derek Nix.
One of the things Durkin said at his press conference last week is that he didn't think the head coach should be calling the offense or the defense.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want him as head coach, you're not going to get him as defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I think people need to understand that. I think we're starting to get people now say we just needed a better head. Like there was, I thought there was a great tweet. This one guy said, just hire me as the head coach. I will sit back and do nothing and let Derek and DJ cook.
But we need somebody to do something. We need somebody to help recruit. We need somebody to actually make the game management decisions so those two people don't have to make them.
That's true. That's right.
All right. And then our last question's from frequent emailer Bill Miner, and the subject line is most surprising result. And he says, hey, guys, I'd say last Saturday's game was one of the most surprising games I've seen Auburn play because we never anticipated them putting up 38 at all, even if we didn't win. What are some Auburn games you can recall being really surprised in a good way, regardless of the result?
The first one comes to my mind is the bowl game we went to against Purdue in Nashville. I thought it was going to be a tough, close game. And the way that Gus tended to do in bowl games, I assumed we were going to lose. And we beat them like 50-0 or something, just insane.
It was like 63-7 or something. It was a massacre.
Lord. Yeah, that was incredible. Totally out of nowhere. Me at least.
I mean, I think like some of the recent Iron Bowls, I thought we were big underdogs, and we, especially the ones at home, and played Alabama really close and should have won those games.
Should have won them both, yeah. There was an LSU game a few years ago that we absolutely torched them.
Oh yeah, out of nowhere, kind of.
You just don't see us just crushing. And there was the A&M game in 15 where we had a terrible team, right? 15 was the worst Gus team he had. And they went into Texas A&M with Jeremy Johnson and beat them soundly.
That was a shocker.
Yeah. There have been a few. Been a while.
But it was surprising. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for listener questions.
Let's take a trip around the SEC. All right, we're going to bring this sucker in under budget and on time. So Georgia beat Mississippi State. Yeah, State was in it for a minute, and then Georgia said no and put the hammer down. I like how they said Georgia played their second half offense starting in the second quarter, so that's how they – that's just too bad. Ole Miss crushed the Citadel 49-0. A&M beat Missouri 38-17. I hadn't seen I'm going to have to go back and see the YouTube clip of that because all I knew – was that A&M was winning, but that's a bigger beatdown than I expected.
Missouri's starting quarterback's hurt. He's out for the year. So They started a true freshman. It really wasn't that close.
Okay. So Missouri's not going to be in the playoffs, and it's all kind of gone boobs up for them. So that's too bad. Alabama beat LSU 29. I saw the end of that game. LSU was trying to make a game out of it. They pulled it to like 17-9. They were within one score. Then Alabama went down, kicked a field goal. It was funny though. They interviewed DeBoer, and when Alabama had the ball, and he's like, "Well, we got to finish this drive off with a touchdown to finish it off." And then they're like, "Thank you, coach," and they went back, and immediately Alabama turned the ball over. I was laughing.
Again, LSU's defense held them down, but LSU's offense is just terrible this year.
They're like we were a week ago before Vanderbilt. Was Freeze calling in the plays of that game too?
Again, they fired their head coach, but he wasn't calling the plays.
Yeah. Kentucky beat Florida 38-7. This is another one I got to watch on YouTube. I didn't see any of this. How did Kentucky score 38 on Florida? That just doesn't even.
Florida fired their coach, and those players have quit.
Wow. It's quite the opposite of us. So my Kentucky friends is like a little concerned now that they may be winning too much and too well and keep their coach, and they're not in the Summerall sweepstakes anymore.
They're not firing that guy. They just beat Auburn and Florida back to back. They're not gonna fire him. They got a chance against Louisville.
It's got to be the first time they've ever beaten Auburn and Florida back to back since Bear Bryant, anyway. Probably. Indiana, Penn State. Just incredible. The Indiana drive, the catch. I mean, I think Cam Coleman's was more spectacular, but there was some cool stuff.
It was, but it was a great end of the game in Indiana. The stop, the clock management, the drive down the field, the big catch on the sideline was, an amazing catch. And then the catch, the And the other part is Penn State did not sit back. They were sending guys like crazy on those last few plays, and Mendoza was all over it. He was really, really good and impressive at the end of that game.
And I mean, because Penn State went down and took the lead with very little time left and looked like they could pull it out. And then Indiana just cut their hearts out, which is interesting because you don't look at Indiana as a team that normally does things like that, but they were playing like they were a different team. Like they didn't know what logo was on their helmet. They're out there playing like they were Ohio State or something. So you're saying we should expect an Alabama, Texas A&M matchup in the SEC championship game?
Yes. Now, man, we could mess that up, and I guess Texas could mess that up, but that's where we're headed right now. I think it's pretty clear. So.
Interesting that Georgia and Texas are not even in the picture when weren't they the two of them last year?
They were, and they were the preseason pick, but Alabama has already beat Georgia.
Yeah.
And
as they do.
A&M's undefeated. And so we'll get to this in a minute. Georgia plays at Texas, or Texas plays at Georgia this weekend.
Yeah, and so one of them is going to be pretty much knocked out completely, and the other one will still have a chance. Yeah. Tulane Watch 2025. I actually was really loving this game. I got the week pass of Sling to make sure that in addition to Auburn basketball, I also got to see this game because I wanted to see Sumrall and Tulane. And it was a really good game for a while, and then I just fell asleep. I had taken like allergy medicine or something, and I couldn't stay awake. And I woke up and the game was over. 38-20. I think it was 38-32, not 38-22. And it was but it was back and forth and kind of close there for a while. That was a good win for Tulane and a good win for Sumrall.
It was.
You know what I mean?
Again, Memphis is a ranked team. It's a conference foe.
Yeah.
It was 32. I'm wrong. So.
And I think it made like a 6-way tie for first place in the conference.
American, yeah. I mean, South Florida's there, North Texas is there. It's going to be weird down the stretch. So
I think South Florida lost, didn't they?
I'm not sure.
I feel like we need to start doing the American Conference the way that like the what you call that other podcast that I haven't listened to in several years, but we used to listen to the Solid Verbal. They did like the Patriot League for a while just for fun. I feel like we need to be tracking the Tulane and Memphis and South Florida just because we have a kind of an interest in it right now. And you said, I didn't know this. Again, I must have slept through this. Tulane ran the wishbone?
They did.
Oh, hell, I'm going to go back and watch that now.
I was going to say, how would you – I want your honest reaction. If Auburn was in the red zone and they came in account and the coach lined up in the wishbone, what would you do?
Oh, I would freak out. That would be fantastic. I'm not sure who's on our roster right now that I would put in those positions.
It doesn't even matter. I don't even. It didn't have to be players who could run the thing. Like if they came out in that formation, I would be delighted.
Oh, it would. Okay. I'm just making a note that I need to watch that. All right. So coming up, week 12, South Carolina at Texas A&M. South Carolina is pretty much toast, right? I mean, they're not even going to go.
They're dog meat. Yeah,
they're toast. Arkansas at LSU in a zombie team battle, as the Audible would say. Zombie Arkansas versus zombie LSU. I give Arkansas a good chance in this one.
I was going to say, LSU's offense is bad. Arkansas could score some points and win the game.
Puncher's chance, yeah. Tennessee Tech at Kentucky. Watch Kentucky lose this after beating Florida and Auburn. That would be the most Kentucky thing ever. Oklahoma at Alabama. That should be very interesting. New Mexico State at Tennessee. Florida at Ole Miss. Like you said, Florida's checked out, so Ole Miss should roll. But you never know with Ole Miss. Texas at Georgia. Who do you like in that one?
I mean, I think Georgia at home. I think Georgia's a better team. I think on both sides of the ball. But I think Texas defense is really good, and they're going to make it hard for Georgia. So.
And then finally, Mississippi State at Missouri. That could be a very competitive game given the situation with Missouri. Absolutely.
Yeah. Shot from Mississippi State.
Before your non-conference game, I got a non-conference game for you. I'm going to be at my first Big Ten game.
We're and not these podcasts now.
And not Well, I do have the hat on. And not just like these newfangled Big Ten. Like, you could go to an Oregon UCLA game and say, I'm at a Big Ten game. But are you really, though? I mean, I'm going to be at the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana to watch Illinois take on the Maryland Terrapins. Now, I know Maryland is an ACC team pretending to be a Big Ten team, but Illinois is the real deal. Illinois is like the Kentucky of the Big Ten.
Good call. That's 3:30 Eastern on FS1 if you want to watch for Vane in the crowd.
Yeah. Mira's excited because Illinois is kind of her top school she wants to go to. Auburn is second. That makes me sad, but the distance involved makes me happy as a dad, right? And so she's all excited. We got the colors either way. So I'm going to be wearing Auburn stuff, and it's going to be very funny to see if anybody notices that it's Auburn and not Illinois.
And you got to cheer for Bert.
Oh yeah, I'll be cheering for Bert, man. Shut up, Beavis. So so I'm going to be at a Big Ten game. I'm excited. What is your non-conference game to watch?
I got a few. Notre Dame at Pittsburgh is at noon on ABC. Okay. And then Iowa at Southern Cal's at 3:30 on CBS. And Virginia at Duke is 3:30 on ESPN2. If the UVA quarterback plays, that'll be a good game. He got knocked out of the game last week and they lost. If he plays, that'll be a good game, competitive. If he doesn't play, don't bother.
Virginia has been one of my surprise teams this year. They have really impressed me. They've got it going, and they've been looking really good.
They still have a chance to win the freaking conference.
It's got to be killing Virginia Tech to have Virginia be better than them at football for a stretch here.
Well, the most Virginia Tech thing would be this is real chance this happens. Virginia Tech beats them this year and knocks UVA out of the ACC championship game and potentially making the playoff.
It's like the ACC version of the Egg Bowl where the crap team always wins.
Well, except in this case, it's Virginia Tech always wins. So, I mean, they've beaten them like 18 times in a row or something. So,
good gosh. Well, go ahead and put your money down on Mississippi State to win the Egg Bowl this year because the crap team always wins that.
Well,
game.
And I don't think 5 or 6 SEC teams are making the playoffs. Somebody's going to blow it. Georgia could lose to Georgia Tech.
That's right. Oh, and there's a high possibility of that.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So, all right. If we wrap up in the next 2 minutes, we brought this thing in under 2 hours. I say let's wrap it up. You good?
Wrap it.
Our time is up. We thank you for yours. War Eagle, John.
War Eagle, man.